I just want to start this by saying you keep making these my most successful videos, not me. So by all means, bring on the dreaded ratio and irrational angry comments because it's time to rank more of the cringiest metal, butt rock, and scene bands as chosen by you.
Let the hate flow through you.
Alright, let's kick things off with something a little bit lower on the scale, Ministry. Now, I really enjoy Ministry, especially the early stuff, but even the best rarely get to the top without having a few cringe moments. I think for me personally, it's Relapse and some of the tracks off of the eye-roll-inducingly titled America Can't that are among the worst, but I think that Iggy Pop Search and Destroy cover is right up there too.
Okay, boomer.
Pretty mild as a whole, cause damn do we have some bigger fish to fry. Next up, let's do Cradle of Filth. Ah yes, here's the over-the-top romantic vampire metal I live for. Music for MySpace goth girls who worship Jonan Vasquez and watch Interview with the Vampire every night. And me, yes, 1,000 times me. There is so much cringe when it comes to this band, from the lyrics to the theatrics, but goddamn, the music is so well composed and the songs just get better and better with all the new albums. Like everyone else who enjoys bands on this list should do, wave your cringe flag high and stop taking yourself so damn seriously.
Captain, my captain.
Cringe, but fun. Alright, let's talk a little bit about Mudvayne. So look, I love LD50, it's one of my all-time favorite nu metal records, but in a way that only makes the later material all the more notably terrible in my book. See my discography tier list for more thoughts on that. Like, admittedly, they were already straddling the line with the spoken word ending of Death Blooms, but things only got way worse after that.
All work and no play makes me a dull boy. All work and no play makes me a dull boy!
Your music's bad and you should feel bad.
Dull Boy is probably the worst offender, but really everything after the first two albums is a pretty marked downhill slide into increasingly lame territory, which is unfortunate to see from a band that actually have a really talented bassist and drummer. So yeah, Mudvayne going to mid-cringe. Moving up a little bit more, let's get Godsmack into the mix. Now there are certain songs in this band's repertoire that I would consider cringe but fun, like Awake and Voodoo, but by and large, even as an edgy nu metal loving teenager, I always found these guys corny. The lyrics are super lame and they just ooze this tribal tattoo, fitted affliction t-shirt wearing and wannabe biker bro energy. I also always found it kind of insulting that they take their name from an Alice in Chains song when these two bands should never be mentioned in the same breath. Very cringe for Godsmack. Alright, but moving into the top tier here, let's talk about Otep. Now, respect for this being one of the earlier female-fronted metal groups I got into back in the day, but it's no wonder why I still listen to a lot of those groups today, but not this one.
Not quite my tempo.
I can forgive heavy-handed political messaging if the music is at least good. See Stray from the Path on the previous list. But holy Jesus, is some of this just embarrassing.
No one escapes! Shelter in place! If they gave a case to the gays in the inner way, will pay to dismantle them.
Again, you can have any message you want in your music, but as musicians, I expect you to at least put a little craft into it instead of just lazily restating old platitudes. Otep going to pure cringe level.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Alright, a band here that was highly requested. Let's talk about Nightwish. So this has consistently been one of the top voted bands, but honestly, aside from the general criticisms of symphonic metal being kind of corny in general, I honestly think it's the hardcore fan base that's way more cringe than the music. But yeah, I get it, I just think it's pretty low on this particular list, because trust me, it only gets worse.
We have such sights to show you.
Time for a little bit more nu metal here with Cold Chamber. So I still low-key kind of love all of their albums, but let's face it, the debut in particular has not aged well. A lot of people point to the Peter Gabriel Shock the Monkey cover with Ozzy as the cringiest moment, but for me, it's easily a Mirror of the Desert. Different times. Mostly though, the chugging grooves and catchy choruses make up for it enough for me to have a good time, but I'd have to be delusional to not accept the cringe that comes with this band. I'm putting them at cringe, but fun. Alright, another one that was interestingly voted quite a few times, we got Kiss.
I am shocked! Shocked!
Well, not that shocked.
So respect where it's due on some level, because obviously Kiss have achieved legendary status in rock and roll. And as always, I'm not saying you can't enjoy their music. Like, Detroit Rock City is a banger, and I love hearing God Gave Rock and Roll to You at the end of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. But they are undoubtedly cringe.
Tonight, I wanna give it all to you.
Like, of course, given my own corny trademark look, I can't really pass full judgment on their costumes, but from a lot of the deeper cuts to Gene Simmons' overall attitude, we can put that aside and still see the writing on the wall. I'm putting them at mid-cringe. Alright, time to talk about Bad Wolves. I'd actually managed to block these guys out of my brain, but the Metal Meltdown unfortunately reminded me that they exist on the Discord. It's bad enough that a lot of their songs are already like C-string Nickelback songs, but I think the moment that genuinely upset me the most was their cover of the Cranberries' Zombie. They took a beautiful song that genuinely brings me close to tears every time I hear it and turned it into a butt rock monstrosity.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Very cringe. Keeping the butt rock train rolling, let's bring in Skillet, another highly requested band in the comments of previous installments, and another band more accurately described again as butt rock than metal. Honestly, I can appreciate butt rock for what it is, considering it was at its peak when I was in high school, but seeing where some of these bands are now is downright painful, many of them falling in line with that kind of Imagine Dragons core sound.
Shot like a rocket up into the sky. Nothing can stop me tonight. You make me feel invincible.
Mad Mike once again with the best memes for this band.
Might go down as the greatest music video work since Hulk Hogan's video for Real American.
Skillet going to pure cringe. Another interesting vote, and the only death metal band I believe on the list this time. We have Deicide. So I saw quite a few votes for this, but I don't really have much to say about them beyond what I've already said about try-hard satanic lyrics not being nearly as effective as they used to be. And there's nothing more try-hard than burning an inverted cross into your forehead. And to quote Mad Mike again, Glenn's a Florida man, so there's that. Deicide going to mild cringe. Alright, a little bit more metalcore here with Bleeding Through. I talk a lot of shit in general about tough guy lyrics, but despite that, I'm not immune to having some guilty pleasures in that realm. And with muscle-bound frontman Brandon and edgy samples from the Boondock Saints, I can think of few better examples than Bleeding Through.
And I'll fight you with every ounce of strength I have left. And I'll shoot with a bullet. I don't care.
I've always found them to be one of the cornier, earlier metalcore acts with the melodramatic, chaotic relationship kind of lyrics. But for whatever reason, I still love it, and it's the perfect music for the gym.
Fucking protein! Where's the goddamn protein, Mom? Told you to get me some protein! Fuck!
Bleeding Through going to cringe but fun. Alright, one of the kind of sort of newer bands on this list, we have Sumo Psycho. I saw some requests for this one too, but I also know plenty of people like Mad Mike who really enjoy them. Personally, there are aspects of the music that I feel like I want to like, but every time I listen, it just comes off as a much more try-hard metal version of No Doubt. I appreciate the kind of Protest the Hero vibes in the guitar work and the overall musicianship, but the over-enunciation of every syllable in the vocal performance just annoys me to no end.
Goodbye, conscience, goodbye. I didn't like my guide.
Sumo Psycho hitting mid-cringe. Alright, so I've been seeing a few people talking about King 810. I'm almost afraid to talk about this band for various reasons, but they are very well known for their violent shows and some gang-related imagery. That's not the worst thing for a metal band in and of itself, but I can understand why they've been requested a lot as well.
I sound like this because the devil has my throat. I make your insides shift.
Notably, the very by-the-numbers tough guy lyrics are pretty corny, although I guess you could argue that for better or worse, at least they aren't all talk. Still gonna put them at very cringe. Please don't hurt me. Back to the top, it's time to talk about him.
So bright up.
Yeah, another band that's not really metal at all, but have been highly requested. I only really became aware of these guys through Viva La Bam, and man, I wish I hadn't. Supremely corny, sad boy music for teenage girls to swoon over.
Why are you wasting your time saying all of these mean things when we're just doing what we like and expressing ourselves and what we have that's deep within us that some people, most people, don't understand?
The music could be way worse, but even considering there are other bands that do this better, I don't understand the appeal at all. I'm putting them at pure cringe. Alright, and for our final run up the charts, let's start with Pantera. I know even including them on this list is going to trigger some people out there, and that alone could kind of prove my point. But to keep it simple, I'll just say good friends and a bottle of pills.
I fucked your girlfriend last night while you snored and drooled. I fucked your love.
I've had valid arguments for putting this band at almost every level of this list based on some of their imagery and the antics of Phil Anselmo, but ultimately they were supplanted by too many things that made me visibly wince, so they actually only ended up at mild cringe. Alright, time to talk about baby metal. I can already see the comments now. Insert my favorite band on this list is more cringe than baby metal? Yes. Yes, they are. Like, say what you want about the understandable level of cringe that comes with basically combining metal and weeb culture, but come on, this is just hilariously fun to me in the same way as Electric Callboy. I will say the difference is that baby metal feels like a much more calculated corporate entity, but as far as the music goes, I can't understand why people get legit mad about this band, or any band for that matter. This is what I imagine the voices in Belle Delphine's head sound like, and they are going to cringe, but fun. Back to some new metal, we have Disturbed, another band I never got into during my new metal phase. I actually respect David for having a pretty solid voice and using it in interesting ways that make their songs stand out, but the songs are pretty hit and miss overall. I actually enjoyed some of their new album, and both Indestructible and Asylum are maybe their best. Another tier list you can check out, by the way. But especially with Immortalized and Evolution, the cringe meter really starts to go off the charts with the terrible acoustic songs. Not to mention another cover we absolutely did not need and seems to miss the point of the minimalist nature of the original entirely. Yeah, Disturbed going to mid-cringe. A little bit more metalcore here with I Prevail. Regular viewers know I actually listen to and enjoy quite a bit of metalcore, but these guys have just never really done it for me. I consider them to be doing just more of the same, but like 5 to 10 years late to the party. But I try to keep an open mind, so I circled back this year and...
There's a million fucking reasons that you got it bad, but everybody's sleeping in a body bag. Go!
Yeah, no. New rule, if someone's already tweeted it, especially as some sort of hashtag, don't make it a line in your song. I'm putting them at very cringe. And then easily the cringiest band on this entire list, we've got Blood on the Dance Floor.
How embarrassing.
What do I even need to say about this one? I can't think of a single redeeming quality of this band. They can't sing, the lyrics are gross, the singer is allegedly really gross.
That's gonna be a fucking yikes from me, holy shit.
And it's just all the worst parts of scene culture coming together for a singularity of cringe. It's basically Is Anyone Up, the band, and it's literally caused harm to some of their underage fans as a result. I'm putting them all the way at the top of pure cringe. Y'all check out this playlist if you missed the other parts of this series, or if you're like, oh, you hate everything, check out this playlist for all these albums that I love and recommend constantly. And of course, let me know your other recommendations down in the comments, but that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.